Okay, welcome everyone to Planning in Plain Sight. Today, we have Ryan Heishman with us. He's the Chief Executive Officer of Allen Distribution. So we'll be talking a little bit about the distribution industry in Cumberland County and what it means to us. So if you haven't joined us before in Planning in Plain Sight, it's the official YouTube channel of the Cumberland County Planning Commission. And we believe that the future works better when we can all see it. So that's one of our intentions of the website of our YouTube channel, is really to talk more about topics facing Cumberland County that are out there, basic information, education, and trying to inform our residents about what's going on in the county. So let's start off with the distribution center industry in Cumberland County. So when we talk about it today, it'll be both warehousing and distribution as a general kind of topic of industries, and not one versus the other, but kind of collectively refer to them together. This is an industry that when you look at aerial photographs, you can see it in Cumberland County. So this is an aerial photograph off Google Earth. Many of you may have already looked at some of this, but you can see around the Carlisle area, this aggregation of buildings, all warehousing and distribution centers. Likewise, if you move west, out here by Dickinson, this is out on I-81 at exit 37, more clusters of warehouses. If you move even further south or west in Cumberland County into Franklin County, you'll see more of the industry. So it's clearly an industry that's impacting our county. The data here that I'm showing is from the Department of Labor and Industry. This is the Center for Workforce Information and Analysis. They do a quarterly census of employment and wages, and they show it for each month of the year. So if we're looking here at warehousing distribution industry, we can see that it has very high employment, 19,598, and that is the second highest employment in Cumberland County, second only to healthcare. If you look here at a location quotient, now location quotient really simply tells you if you have more or less of a certain industry in a given area. If you're over 1, it shows that you have more of a certain industry. So at 2.46, the location quotient for warehousing and distribution in Cumberland County is very high. So it clearly tells us that that industry means a lot to us. So today, as we talk to Ryan, we want to learn more about the industry, what's going on in the industry, some trends, and some things that we should know about it looking ahead. So Ryan, I'll just start off a little bit with some basic questions for you. Tell us more about Allen Distribution. How long have you been in the area? What drew the industry to the county? And really, what does your business do?
Hey, Kirk. Appreciate you inviting me today. Certainly passionate about our industry, and appreciate the opportunity to share a little bit about Allen Distribution and industry and impact to the local economy. And so a little background on Allen Distribution. It was started by my father and 2 uncles in 1988 and a group of investors, with the idea that there was a need for a warehouse and the supply chain services in the Carlisle area. And so over 30 plus years, 37 years, we have grown throughout the central PA and other parts of the state. And then more so, we've grown into 8 other states across the country. And so we have operations as far as California, and then throughout other parts of the country. Our primary focus on the food and beverage industry. So a lot of the products that you have in your home, or what you see supermarkets, flow through our distribution centers. And so with that, we use our trucking transportation services. We also store and ship products, as well as we do some what we call custom packaging, where we'll build club business, display builds, pallet builds, variety packs, things that you may find in club stores. And we employ about 1,100 full-time employees across our operations, and we have about 12 million square feet that we support throughout our network.
Wow. So Allen Distribution is a big player in Cumberland County. When you look at the employment numbers, you look at the size of the facilities that you have. So what drew Allen Distribution? Sounds like it's been in the family for a while. What drew your family to locate here in Cumberland County?
Yeah, there's a little bit of a long story to that, but really go back to my great-great-grandfather. They were not living in Pennsylvania, and the area they were at wasn't doing very well. And so they decided to move to Pennsylvania because they thought it was a growing, Central PA was a growing area. And so that was really many years ago. What got the family here And then my father and uncles were in the truck leasing business, and coming out of that business, the idea was to start a distribution warehousing company based on the need they saw. And that need really stemmed from the location of population in the Northeast. We have a map that we share with our customers that shows that you can get to more than a third of the population within a couple hours drive. If you draw a 400-mile circle around central Pennsylvania, you can get to more population than any other part of the country. And so I see it from an industry standpoint and locally that this is really our natural resource, right? Our location of population, that's not going to change anytime soon. And so, from a state and local economy standpoint, we need to figure out how to continue to utilize that natural resource we have, the population.
Right. So I think that's an interesting way to look at the industry, especially that location, that sometimes we look at everything else that's great about Cumberland County. There's a lot of great things about Cumberland County, but to really focus on that location, and clearly it's very important to your industry of the reach that you have from this location. So why then are distribution centers needed? Is it, should they just be here, or, what's the connections that distribution centers have then to the region and then the rest of the United States?
Yeah, so great question, Kirk. It's really around depending on where the product is made and what kind of product is made, and the consumer demand and the types of products. So if you think about the food industry, that production is mainly by customers concentrating only a few parts throughout the country. And so you as a consumer, you want to get your product as soon as possible from when the time you want it, right? And so you couldn't get all your products straight from the manufacturing point. It just would not work because you need that buffer, not only for transportation, but buffer for times of when the plant's running or not running those products and when you want the product. So let's say something is manufactured in South Carolina and you live in Pennsylvania. Well, you as a consumer want to buy it when you want it, right? Let's say you're buying, buying a box of cereal and you're out. And so you want to go to the grocery store. Well, if you wanted to wait until that was ran at the manufacturing, they may not run it this week. They may not run it next week, but you want it, right? You want it because you're out, you're having friends over, or whatever the product you're buying. And so one thing allows is for that manufacturer to produce more economically and then send it to a warehouse that it's already available for when you want to buy it. And so that's kind of the premise of the warehouse, right? Or they're also bringing in products that are made from different manufacturing points into a central point that then are going to be shipped to a store, right? So they can consolidate to reduce the number of trucks, deliveries that have to go to the store. And so that also helps. So a couple of things, or also maybe it's something you're purchasing that's manufactured outside of the country, right? So if it's manufactured in Europe, they need to bring it in, get it into the US, get it into a location close to where you are, as so when you want to purchase it. So there's a lot of different needs for the industry. And on the flip side, you also have raw ingredients. So there's manufacturing sites have ingredients, supplies, corrugate, packaging that they need. The same thing, they need to store that and be able to have it to the manufacturing site when they need it.
Right. So a lot of times we've heard, like in the planning world, since the industry's here, you see a lot of new proposals. Folks will say, well, why do we need all these warehouses? So I guess kind of an answer to that is to kind of look in the mirror. That it's our consumer demands. Each of us want products on the shelf. We want our Amazon products coming to us as soon as we order them. That really the dynamics of our economy is driving the need for warehousing and distribution.
Yeah, 100%, Kirk. You're right. The consumer drives the need for our industry and drives the changes too. So to your point, you want more accessibility to more items and you want it quicker. Well, that all means you have to have more space to store it in, as well as you need it closer to the buyer within an hour or two, right? And so that's what's driving a lot of the demand for our industry at this time.
So that's one great part about the industry, that we're getting our products on time and everything we need for daily living. What else? Tell us what else is from your perspective. What's great about the warehousing distribution industry?
Well, I think not just from the consumer getting their products, but also from a career standpoint, our industry has grown and become more complex and more sophisticated over the last 15, 20 years. And anybody who shows interest in our industry, I'd really advise them to get involved. There's many more degrees now, and there's so many different aspects. There's a lot of technology being introduced. There's a lot of complexities being introduced. There's automation, as well as just planning, analysis, data. It's not just simple of running forklifts anymore. There's so much more to it around the design, the flow, the machinery, the equipment. There's just so much industry, and it's a very exciting time to be involved, especially if you're new. If you're in college or you're coming into the industry, there's so much opportunity, and it can go many different paths. Many large organizations have extensive teams now just to manage their supply chain and their distribution, transportation services and needs.
So if we look ahead, way out into the future, what do you see for the industry? Where's it headed? What are some of the challenges you think on the horizon? And do you think that the specialization we're seeing in Cumberland County today and the benefits we're seeing in Cumberland County today, do you see that continuing into the future, or do you see some challenges for us?
I think the industry is going to continue to grow back to the consumer. The consumer wants more options and they want them quicker. And so that's driving the distribution, warehouse, and supply chain industry to respond to that. And so that'll continue to evolve and become more and more complex, but that also leads to how the facilities will be designed, how they would grow. And with the population in the Northeast continuing to grow, I don't see any reason that the Central PA and Cumberland County would see any downturn with this industry. I think it is important to understand how we balance the development and growth of the industry with the local needs in the communities, and making sure there's proper planning and proper communication and balance there between the industry and the local population and other needs in the economy.
So that's a good point. So planning in plain sight, one of the things we focus on is some of that land use planning aspects of it. What are some of the best management practices you would see for the way the industry can be a good community neighbor and integrate into our communities and really not conflict with them?
Yeah, I think a couple of things. One is I think there can be more collaborative effort between local, state, and industry on planning, understanding what does industry see happening, what does the state want to happen, and what's important locally. And it'd be great if there would be sessions or meetings to balance that and get input and really have that collaboration that everybody can really win out of this, right? Given all the different priorities. Because I really see our industry being really important to the state and to the local in terms of, as you mentioned, the tax bases, the jobs creation outside of the warehouse, all the services that are needed to support that, facility maintenance, lawn service, snow, repairs, new development, all that is greater than just what's happening in the building. And so I would say that planning piece is really important, not just for the next couple of years, but down the road, and understanding how all vested parties can participate in that and really drive a long-term winning strategy.
Right. Yeah, that's a really good point, because when you look at the industry itself, I mean, it's here because of regional dynamics and a regional economy. And you boil it down, warehousing distribution center isn't just about one municipality or one county. It's really about a region and about a nation. And I think some of the solutions of how the industry can best integrate with our communities, we need some of that up and down movement between the state and the counties and the local municipalities to make sure that all the solutions that could be thought of are out there. And we're really not keeping it at such a small level that the industry's impact is beyond that.
Yeah, and then you think about it's not just putting a warehouse there, to your point. The state has to be on board with the road and infrastructure as well, as we've seen here. And they've done a nice job here in Central PA with that infrastructure. And it's important that there's all that alignment on what's happening, where it's going, and making sure that the continued development growth is positive.
All right, we'll just close it out here today. If there was one thing that you wanted the residents of Cumberland County to know about the warehousing distribution industry, maybe that they don't know, or it's, you know, your personal pet peeve or elevator speech for the industry, what would it be?
I would say if you're not familiar with industry, it's a great industry. There's so much happening in it, so many opportunities. The people are awesome. I've met so many people, customers, vendors, and our employees. It's just an awesome industry, and there's so much happening. And you think about these boxes that you drive by. Well, there's great things happening in there. People are developing their careers, they're learning, they're expanding their knowledge, and they're really building a long-term career in the warehouse industry. And so I hope that the local view that as a positive in terms of the impact and ensuring that the balance is there as well. And so I'm excited about it. It's a great industry, and if anybody is interested in engaging in it or learning more about, I'm always open to discuss it.
Well, thanks for your time today, Ryan. Hopefully, you know, residents watch this YouTube video and they look outside, they're driving around. You know, we see the industry, we see it every day. We see it in the trucks and the facilities, but we also see it in the goods that are in our cabinets and in our homes. So thank you for all that you do at Allen Distribution. Thank you for your time today. I think for everyone that's watching our video, please keep planning in plain sight in your mind. Subscribe to our channel, if you will. I mean, that way you'll stay up to date on everything that's happening in land use in Cumberland County. And remember that the future works better when we can all see it. So thank you, Ryan. Thank you, everyone, for watching today. And we look forward to future episodes.